What's up, Gamecock fans? Y'all hear me out there? I'm hiding from y'all for a reason. I am. I am. What's up, Gamecock fans? Y'all hear me out there? Hold on. I'm hiding from y'all for That's why I was hiding. I'm trying to adjust something for y'all. I am. What's up, Gamecock fans? Y'all hear me out there? Uh oh, everything's echoing on me. I'm trying to adjust something for y'all. I am. Oh, everything's echoing all the time. I'm trying to adjust something for y'all. Oh, everything's echoing all the time. I'm trying to adjust something for y'all. All right, hopefully all that's gone now. All the background noise. Anyway, how we doing? Everybody doing all right tonight? Are we celebrating? Are we celebrating in style? We got comments in here. Hold on. I got to get something down here real quick. Why is this not doing what I want it to do? Here I am, y'all. How are we doing tonight? Let me get back to y'all's comment section. We celebrating tonight. We finally got a win. We can finally celebrate as Gamecock fans. We can celebrate. Oh, Dougie Fresh said we woke up. We did. Still had some struggles though. Um, guess the sage worked. Man, I don't know. It didn't. It wasn't looking good early. Let Kentucky score on that first drive. Then, uh, then we drove down the field and got ours, but man, the offense still had some struggles, didn't it? Offensive line. Whew. Yeah, play calling pretty bad there, radioactive. You're right about that, buddy. The Rail, South Carolina says, I got my drink. I got my drink too. Look, I got cold beer. Cold beer in celebration. Got my cigar. I figure I better take advantage of it now. I don't know how many more we're going to get. Uh, how do you lose to Kalen DeBoer? Georgia just got a block against damn Alabama. I don't know what the hell that shit is. Kind of like us when it comes to Missouri. Hey, we can't hardly beat Missouri either, so I ain't gonna talk too much shit. Radioactive want to know what I'm smoking on. Honestly, radioactive, I can't tell you. I just tore the rubber off. I didn't even look to see what it was. You want me to be honest with you, buddy? I mean, hell, I was so happy and excited and in such a hurry to get over here to talk to all you fine Gamecock fans out there. Um, I didn't even pay attention to what cigar I grabbed. I really didn't. Chris Ian, what's up, buddy? Uh, how you doing, man? Everybody doing all right? I'll put y'all up on the TV up there. You can see it. You can read your own comments. How about that? Um, yeah, it was a good game. Good game. If you want to look at it overall, I mean, we could break it down and we could talk about still a lot of the issues that we saw early on. Still had some issues with tackling. That got a lot better. Was able to bring a lot of defensive pressure. Um, Dylan Stewart made some hellacious plays. So I mean, the whole defensive line I think played really much improved over last week. Now let's not get this too twisted. Missouri's a better football team than Kentucky, um, and that running back for Missouri, that dude is good, and he's going to cause a lot of heartache. Uh, don't ever make fun of Tennessee tearing goalposts down. A cigar. Hey, everybody smokes cigars in celebration. Billy Cole, my old friend Billy Cole. Billy Cole, I had Tennessee in the in a parlay today, and Tennessee held up there in the deal because I had a 6.5. But LSU couldn't couldn't handle their part and at least only lose by one, they had to go out and look like a complete catastrophe. LSU looked like the South Carolina team. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I think LSU is beatable, and I'm gonna tell you why. Nussmeier, and as weird as this sounds, Nussmeier is not good. This year, he just I don't know. He was missing wide open players. He just wasn't accurate. I guess everybody got this jinx from everybody that was in that damn talked about Heisman Trophy at the beginning of the year. Is daggum jinx, y'all. Oh, Darrell said, "How was my day?" It was good, man. I watched a lot of college football today. A lot of good football games. A lot of games came down to the end. Um, you know, so it's been some amazing football this year, but it's almost bipolar, dude. I was talking about that with in Chuck and them and Dealmaker Stream. Like Illinois got destroyed by Indiana last week. Illinois goes and beats Southern Cal this week. Indiana struggles to beat Iowa. I'm like, man, this season is like bipolar. You saw Virginia beat Florida State last night, and I'm like, phew. In Alabama, everybody was ready to give up on their ass after losing to Florida State, and now they go beat Georgia. Like nobody can get ahead to win. Like there's no dominant team. Like you can get beat any week. Um, so it's crazy. We owe LSU a ass whooping. Yeah, not if they give us them same officials again. Them dudes terrible. But there was terrible officiating everywhere. So speaking of Billy Colin here, that Tennessee that they call a pass interference on a wide receiver that caught a pass and scored a touchdown. Like, dude, that wasn't pass interference. The defender fell down and they were hand fighting, but shit, that's every pass play, you know. Am I feeling more optimistic? I'm not going that far, Cash. To be honest with you, dude, I'm gonna celebrate the win. I still am not excited about the way now Trayvon Ball played his ass off. I did see a little more aggression in the offensive line. Um, and you had some different players in there that were playing good, even Marky Anderson. I know he got banged up there, but um, I would rather see our team fight with the younger guys like that than to put these other guys in there that just has continued to fail communication and everything else that happened. But it still wasn't great. We wasn't able to run the ball until late once we started wearing down Kentucky's defensive line. I think our size at O line kind of took over and warmed down. We brought in Fuller and just kind of pounded the ball against them. And I think you can do the same thing to LSU. Ole Miss did it today. Now I think Ole Miss is probably right now they're looking to be maybe the best team in the SEC this year. They're going to be very, very hard to beat. Um, and we have them on our schedule. But I do feel I feel optimistic that I think if we play our best game, if we go out there and don't make mental mistakes and don't turn the football over, that was one of the things we did tonight, much better than we have been doing. I mean, hell, I think maybe we ended up with less than half the penalty. We had 12, 14 penalties last week for 14 for over 100 and something yards. I don't think we have but by like 5 or 6 tonight. If I go back and look, that number was way down. Yeah, y'all don't expect me to be staring at no screen with them sunglasses on because I'm blind as hell. Anyway, I had to put my good glasses on to kind of look at the stats. But yeah, I mean, penalty wise, I think we were much better. We were definitely better putting pressure on the quarterback. Uh, Throwing the ball, I think we still need to throw the ball. I still think we try to force the run too much. I got it at the end of the game. That's a point where you just start trying to run the clock out. Beamer's not one of these guys that tries to run the score up anyway. Now, I did disagree with Beamer on some people like to call on the fake punt. You're up by 18 points. You're in your own territory. There's no need to call it. Now you've put that out there on film and tape for other teams to get a look at. You know what I mean? It was unnecessary to do. You could have really gave some momentum away, but luckily the defense was able to stop them and only give up a field goal. So I disagree with that part of it. I would not have done that. Um, just because it was no need for it. You could have really hurt your team by even taking that chance. Some people like the aggressiveness of it. It's when you're aggressive, and there was 13 yards that you had to get on that fake punt. I don't know if that's the right time to call that. And we saw Beamer had issues with that last year in the Ole Miss game of trying to do fake punts at the wrong time and go for it on fourth downs at the wrong time. These are coaching decisions that he's got to grow up on and not let your emotions tie you into that. Now, I know there were some scraps out there and some guys wanting to fight and that kind of stuff, but it's a real emotional game. It always is with Kentucky. And that's why when people said, when we were talking about the three uh, permanent opponents, I wanted Kentucky on there because South Carolina and Kentucky fight. I'm not talking about just break out in a fist fight, but they play each other fairly hard. Now I know Kentucky's down right now, but does anyone think Kentucky's always going to be down? They'll step up. Now Stoops, I don't know if he's going to be the man. I think we're going to see. You might see 4 or 5. It may be hard to fire your coach because you're going to see a lot of jobs open up at the end of the year. Kentucky is going to be maybe one of those. You're looking at Florida, maybe one of those. You're looking at Arkansas is going to be coming open. Um, so you may be looking at competing with 3 or 4 different SEC football teams to find a coach. On top of Virginia Tech's looking for a coach, UCLA's looking for a coach. Now they normally wouldn't be in the same pool of guys that like Kentucky or Arkansas, one of them guys are going to look for. I think they're going to go out and pick some of these young offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. Um, I think if I had to guess, I would think, Oklahoma State's looking too. I've heard some rumor um, about Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator from Oklahoma, maybe interviewing for some of these jobs. It's out there, so I don't know. Yeah, we do own Stoops. I think Stoops. If he, I don't even know if they fire him or he retires. He may just retire and move on. Uh, Virginia Tech beat NC. Well, maybe they give Philip Montgomery that job. Billy Cole, what do you think? He goes out there and finishes up the rest of the season successful. They may have their coach. Um, you never know with a team like that, dude. Um, Sometimes that's better than go out and trying to find the unknown when you have a known guy right there. Yeah, I still think in our game, in our case though, Mike Shula, I am still not impressed. His and I don't know if it's him or Beamer, but their thought process of just trying to hammer this run game, hammer this run game when it's not being successful. I get you can wear some teams out by the end of the game by doing that, but man, you put your team in bad positions, especially trying to convert on all these third downs, which South Carolina's not been very successful at this year. Our third down conversion rate's awful. And we saw tonight a lot of times it was sellers keep the ball and run, which we haven't seen all year. This is the sellers we saw last year, breaking tackles, breaking sacks, gaining yards. Um, he didn't have the greatest night throwing. He only had 153 yards, but he only threw the ball 14 times. He was 11 for 14, but he ran the ball for 14 times for 81 yards. Van Travius Jacobs, the first wide receiver we've had get over 100 yards, and since who? I don't I don't know if I can remember yeah, bird top to fly. You're right, buddy. That's what I was getting ready to look. I just looked at that. I'm like, Jacobs had over 100 yards. We ain't had a 100-yard receiver in a while. Xavier Leggett, maybe. I don't think we didn't have one last year. Not that I can remember. Um, and sometimes you can air it out. You can open up other teams by throwing the football, which then helps your running game. I think sometimes these old school minds, especially these NFL. I know Mike Shula came from the NFL, came to college, failed at Alabama, back in the NFL. Sometimes those guys are just refuse to stop trying to run up the middle. We don't have NFL offensive lines in college. There's no such thing. So sometimes the refusal and the stubbornness just to try to keep running it down someone's throat, it's not always going to work in this league. There's too many good defensive lines for that to happen. But we came out. The defense stepped up. We got some turnovers and some points off of defense that helped field position, helped the offense tremendously. Um, Special teams struggled tonight. I mean, we started out kicking the ball out of bounds. Then we had a, a bad punt. It's like, man, what is going on? Everything has just seemed like it's not going. Um, I don't know. Billy Coe said, "How you get fired at Alabama? Not winning football games. Easy way to get fired at Alabama. That's the easiest way to get fired anywhere. Don't win football games. That'll get your ass fat. We needed that one bad, Rooster. Get the swag on. Yeah, I got my swag. Look. I'm ready for bed. I got my robe on, my hat backwards. I just knocked my sunglasses off. I'm drinking a beer with you guys to celebrate because I don't really drink that much no more. That's probably the first beer I've had in a couple months. But I figured I might break one out and celebrate. It might be our last SEC win to celebrate this year. David Green says, "Won't we stay with one returner?" Because they know they're going to kick the ball away from Nick Harbor, so they put a second guy out there. If you're talking about kick returns, you're talking about punt returns. I'm not sure why they keep switching Kilgore and Vakari Swain out, unless there was just some reason last week that Swain may have had. I don't know, maybe a little bit of maybe he was dinged up or something, and they thought maybe keep. Sometimes you just let them rotate just so you have a second guy if something were to happen to your first guy if he gets hurt. Um, But when you don't hear certain guys' names, it's a good thing, right? Like we didn't hear a lot out of our DB room getting cooked. That was a great thing. Cisse played really well, made some big time tackles behind the line, made some big time tackles right at the line, made some big time plays in the passing game. And I figured that's what that guy was going to be when we brought him in from NC State. And he's been pretty rock solid. I mean, as a DB, you're going to give up plays every once in a while. D. Campbell versus Wofford had 100 receiving yards. See, I would have never known that. You know why, Gamecock Chuck? Because I didn't give two shits about us beating Wofford. Only Chuck would have that information. Did you Google that, Chuck? Because I know you ain't cared enough to worry about no damn 100-yard receiver against Wofford. Doty needed the reps. Yeah, hand that ball off, man. That's a tough job. At least we didn't bring in a 5-star Aaron Nolan to hand the ball off again. Oh, Gamecock Sports said the Sunglass Bowl. We won it. Yeah, against Mr. Potato Head. I'm telling you, Mark Stoops, just shave your hair, dude. Two people I know in life that I watch on TV that just need to go ahead and give up the hair thing. Mark Stoops and Paul Feinbaum. Dude, just get some clippers and shave that shit off. What y'all got going is horrible. Yeah, Stewart had a good night. Everybody gave him shit last week. They better not this week. Everybody needs to come on in here to give me shit about Stewart last week when I said leave Stewart alone. Y'all remember that video? Leave Dylan Stewart alone. I told y'all leave that man alone. He was angry. He was frustrated. He wants to win the football game. Tonight was his kind of game. He could get in there and fight and scrap. That was his kind of game. And they moved him around a little bit. Whew, shocker. I didn't talk about that this week either, did I? And they ran some 3-man fronts. How about that? Woo. Cutter Boley was our MVP. Well, their offensive line ain't good either. Good God, they could. I thought our guys couldn't block. Their shit was pitiful too. I mean, I get it. We have a better defensive line than Kentucky has, but they gassed us a couple times on some run plays and stuff. But I'm telling you, before the end of the year, that Hardy kid that ran against us in Missouri, he's been hurting feelings all year, and he's going to hurt some more feelings before the end of this year against some good. Well, I'm not going to say good football team because hell, Missouri don't really have a lot of good football teams on their damn schedule. I'm glad that shit's getting broken up with the 3 permanent opponents. They got to play a damn schedule now. Oh, don't matter. I heard he had a sore throat and didn't want to sing. Who was that? Billy Coe. Billy Coe, you see your Tennessee man tried to come in on my comment you made earlier when we were joking about the damn put the sand on the field and let Lenore draw the damn plays and sand on the field or use Tennessee's plays that we stole. That man don't know what kind of friends we are, Billy Coe. Yeah, you just don't know. Kentucky fans told you Bolay was the truth. You know what? We can say a lot about a lot of football teams right now, but they're really just starting. A lot of these teams are just starting to get into a schedule where you can even know what the hell they are. To be honest, um, yeah, Xavier, it was a great win. You take them when you get them. It's a momentum builder. You're going into a bye week. You take coming off of a big win, where kind of your defense helped you out. Offense made some plays. Really need to find a one running back. Fuller did well. He goes forward a lot, but the offensive line has to get better. I think we have running backs, but can we all admit that our offensive line can't block? I mean, it seriously. Rasul ran into Josiah Thompson as Josiah Thompson is getting set on his ass by a defender. And if it ain't for Lenore Sellers, which he did it all year last year, and then all of a sudden the first 4 games we didn't want to do it this year, and it was back tonight, where Sellers is breaking tackles and running the football on third down short and getting first downs, and I don't know, man. Well, Bole's a young kid. I'm not going to get on him and say he's not going to be better in the future. He's a young guy, so it's hard to say. But Kentucky's not very good and not giving him good support either. We got to think about that kind of thing. We know how that is. He's not going to be a kid that's like Lenore's that can come in but barely having any playing time and play like he played last year. There's very few quarterbacks can do that. We've seen some great redshirt freshmen, but it's kind of a rare thing to have one come out and play like Lenore's did last year. And I think that's why he was so hyped for the Heisman this year. But I'm glad the Heisman thing kind of went away. The guys looked a little smoother tonight, a little more relaxed. I mean, they were a little. The beginning of the game was shaky, and we'll all admit that. They kind of once the defense started making some plays and it got the guys all kind of hyped up, everybody else started playing differently. And that's, sometimes I guess you got to be that way. You got to lift each other up. Um, Sellers looked mad going into the third quarter. Well, he should radioactive because last week when we were getting our ass whooped and went in halftime, they showed him walking towards the locker room and he was laughing. We don't do laughing when you're losing. Just like these guys that now you're getting your ass kicked. LSU today had guys celebrating while they were losing. I'm like, dude, you're getting your ass kicked. You got a first down and you got to get up and celebrate. Missouri did some of that dumb shit last year too. It's like, stop it. Stop doing that. You're losing the football game. You don't celebrate. You get up, you hand the ball to the official, and you go line back up. Stop doing that. It's kind of this damn TikTok dance generation is fucking ridiculous. Dude, I ain't never danced when I was losing. I'm going to tell you that now. Ain't going to happen. I'm dancing now. I'm celebrating now. Y'all didn't see me celebrating the last 2 weeks. I was mad. And I even told myself, if we lose tonight, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to come on here and talk about the facts. What went right, what went wrong. What went right tonight, what went wrong. In a win or a loss, you can still point out things that went wrong. And I guess I kind of go with a coach's mindset that I kind of look for, okay, what went wrong that can be improved. Offensive line still has to be improved. It does. Our run game has to get better, but you don't have to force it down people's throats either. All you have to do is throw the ball enough to keep a defense honest. It does not have to be a true balanced offense. When somebody says, oh, you got to have an offense that's truly balanced, that's not true. Not to win football games. You would like to be balanced, but you can create runs off of passes. We saw that with the screen passes and stuff like that, the short passes. That's just an extension of a run game. You don't actually have to hand the ball off to a running back to extend a run game. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. Yeah, we did look better, Billy Cole, but you considering the competitions. But here's what I like: the confidence that it gives us going into a bye week. Now you can sit down and you can work on things that's been wrong. You can look at LSU's film. I'm just telling you, LSU looked terrible today. Now, Ole Miss could have made them look terrible, but it wasn't just Ole Miss. Like, they were missing some wide over stuff. And I get it. Caden Durham, their premier running back, didn't play today. But LSU's got a lot of beat up offensive linemen. and it's starting to get that way for everybody right now. Their defense really didn't play good. I mean, Whit Weeks out there throwing up in the grass um, because Ole Miss was bringing it, and LSU wasn't ready for it. The offense was not great. Andrew, the textbook says. No, and I don't think they were either. Um, let's see. See if I can bring up complete offensive stats. Let me go back to where I was on the game. See if I can get more of the. All right, team stats here. Let's see exactly how we turned out. Total yards, we had 341. That's not setting the world on fire. 163 passing, 178 total rushing yards. I mean, that's pretty balanced, but that don't mean it was balanced to good. Um, 5.4 yards per play. We had 19 first downs. Hell, Kentucky had 16, and we kicked the crap out of them. That just shows you when you get special teams and defensive plays in there. 8 for 15, a little over 50%. Still giving ourselves too many long third downs. Just mental mistakes and breakdowns. Fourth down, we were 2 for 4, so we're right at 50%. So we had 63 total plays. Kentucky ran 60. Punts 3. Penalties, yeah, we have 5 for 65 instead of 14 for over 100 that we had last week. And the game was pretty even on time of possession. Kentucky had it 29 minutes. We had it 30. Basically 31. They had it 29. So nothing. They wasn't that far behind us. It just like our defense kind of took over that game. Kentucky had no answers for the pressure we were bringing. And then we started getting into the backfield and starting to get sacks, creating turnovers. Um, was it just me or was Lenore's pissed off? Yeah, he's probably tired of getting our offensive line not giving him an opportunity to make plays, if you want me to be honest, Billy Cole. That's what somebody was saying. Well, last week going in halftime, he was smiling, and a lot of people were ticked off about that. So I'm sure he got his ear full if anybody went back and watched that and said, "Why are you walking off the field um, laughing and joking, man? You're in a war." You can't get. Uh, Dave Green says, I think Shula just wanted to run the ball because not just don't cut it. Yeah. Um, the sad thing is, I want to think this is Schuler doing this, but I'm not so sure that this ain't Beamer's philosophy with just running this shit all the time too. I think that's the type of offense that Beamer wants to run, and you can tell that by the type of offensive coordinators he hires. Every OC that South Carolina's had under Beamer is a retread NFL guy. So I can't always just blame it on Mike Shula because I think this is Beamer's shit too. I don't think he wants an upgraded, updated offense. And what's going to get you in real trouble is try to run this offense next year without Lenore Sellers. Because Lenore Sellers ain't doing nothing right now but upping his NFL draft stock. The more you go out like he did last week, throw for 300 yards, you come out this week and run for 80 yards and throw for almost 200. That's just upping his draft stock every week. Uh, Gamecock Sporty says Shamlis is better than Simmons. I hadn't seen Simmons enough to even say that. Gamecock Sporty. He played one game, been banged up since then, and that was first game of the year that he played the whole game or whatever against a nobody competition. But yeah, you may be right. What's the saying? 4 things happen when you pass, and 3 of them are bad. But it's how you pass, Billy Cole. You know that. It's if you're out there just slinging the damn ball around doing dumb shit, then bad things are going to happen. But if you're playing a pass game that's almost an extension of your run game with some quick passes out, especially when DBs are sitting back and giving you a cushion, running some quick slants, running some passes to the running back, like we saw Oscar make the one-handed catch or whatever. Had that been a clean catch, he'd have more opportunity to run with that football. But he had to reach back and catch it with one hand, and then once that your momentum's kind of broke at that point. But I think there's a way you can pass the ball and you can extend It's just an extension of a run game without actually having to hand the ball off and try to run up the middle when your offensive line is struggling blocking anybody. That's the thing. You got to get people out of the box. You can't let them stack the box. And I'm not going to sit here and say Kentucky's some world beater team and South Carolina just walked away with the victory of the year because we all watched the game. We've all watched Kentucky all year. They're not very good. And transitive properties don't work because Kentucky played Ole Miss better than they played us. It just don't work that way. Um, Sporty says get a QB in the portal next year. Um, I'd imagine you'd have to. I don't. Cutter's a true freshman this year. If you can keep Aaron Nolan around, he's not playing either. How much experience is he gonna have going in the next year? Bring a portal QB in with his OC. Maybe I don't. There's so many games left between now and the end of the year. Who knows what this team's gonna be? That might just be our fourth or fifth win on this year that we just got. I don't know, but funny, the ball bounces funny, right? You start getting some turnovers, defense gets confidence, they creating turnovers. You get back to getting some special teams scores, you get back to getting some defensive scores. You can win football games without the greatest offense, but that's not a recipe you want to apply to thinking you're going to win a bunch of football games all the time. And that's the thing, the offense has to get better. The offense needs to be able to stand alone. Um, the defense gave them a lot of short fields, and we scored on defense. Um, the offense has got to go out and sustain drives. You got to be able to start at the 25 and drive the ball down the field and get a touchdown consistently. Cash Stampede wants to know if Beamer's a good coach. Cash Stampede, I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I think there are so many areas of good night there, Billy Cole. There's so many areas of inexperience that I think he has that I think it hurts him sometimes. With not ever being an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, I don't know how much he can get into the ass of his coordinators because he's never been one. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at a Kirby Smart, he can get into a defensive guy's ass because he was a defensive coordinator. You look at some of these the problem with a lot of these offensive head coaches is they want to be the play caller. The Hugh Freezes and the Billy Napiers, and we already see that don't work. Um, I don't know. A lot of you guys probably remember, but if y'all watched the Virginia game last night, do y'all know who the offense coordinator is for Virginia? Remember when we went through that crazy shit and we beat Tennessee and we beat Clemson? Y'all remember that? Des Kitchens. Remember the rumors about Des Kitchens taking over the offense for those last two games against Tennessee and Clemson? That's Virginia's offense coordinator. You mix that with a head coach that's an offense coordinator, and you get a pretty good football team. And we saw him against Florida State was a pretty good football team. Why we didn't try to keep Des Kitchens around, I am clueless. Maybe he just wanted to go away. He went to North Carolina. It wasn't the greatest thing there. Now he's at Virginia. But you got two offensive minds working together right there, and they're creating a good offense at Virginia. And I think that's what South Carolina lacks that because we don't have a head coach that can walk into the defensive room and know what he's really, really doing. We don't have Shane Beamer's not an offensive coordinator or so he can't sit down and truly game plan like a good offensive coordinator would. I also think South Carolina's missing a quarterback coach. Shula's ass need to be in the box so he can survey the field. The problem is he wants to be down on the field with the tablet with Lenore Sellers. Most offensive coordinators, it worked well last year because if y'all remember, Dow Loggins would go up in the box and Shula was down on the field with Lenore, and they were reviewing the plays and stuff on the tablet. And that's why it seemed that the offense was better last year. But still, Sellers being Superman last year made that offense, and he made that offensive line look really, really good. Shula should be the QB coach. I don't know. I think Shula should be gone. You want my honest opinion? I'm not impressed. Even then, with the victory today, I am still not impressed with Mike Shula. I'm not impressed with Lonnie Teasley. I think Teasley needs to go to recruiting, find a move, either put Sean Elliott and hire a tight. Here's what you can do: get rid of Greg um, Greg Askins, fat ass off of the off of a paycheck. Get rid of Teasley's paycheck. Get rid of Mike Shula's paycheck. You combine 3 paychecks. Go get your offensive coordinator and a tight end coach, and put Sean Elliott over the O line. That would, if I was going to do anything, that's what I'm doing. I'm telling you right now, I am trimming the fat. I will hire an offensive coordinator that can bring in his own quarterback coach, and I'm getting a damn tight end coach, and I'm telling my offensive coordinator, go get me a tight end coach. Sean Elliott's going to run my offensive line. That's just what I'm saying. Elliott should go with him. Why? I mean, he's tight end coach. Tight end coach does pretty good. I know they say the run game coordinator. I don't even know what the hell a run game coordinator would be. What's he coordinate? The guys, the running backs that go in and out of the game and how they go through. That's the running back coach. That's Blackwell. The rotation. That's Blackwell. That's not Sean Elliott. So I mean, Sean Elliott needs to be over the O line. If you're going to have him anywhere, you put him where he's good, and that's where he was. That's where he's been. That's what he knows how to do. He makes us run at the middle. No, that play design is all offensive coordinator. That's not Sean Elliott. That's Mike Shula. Play design. When you talk blocking schemes, your like Lonnie Teasley has to try to teach the O line how to block off of the play that Mike Shula wants to run. So it's his job to take what he's given and make the O line know and understand what their job is. The failure in that is the guys don't know. They're confused. It's not working. It's not happening on the O line. It's just not. But the exact play call at the time it's calling the game, the design of the plays themselves, that's all Mike Shula. That's not. You might get a coach on the staff that comes up with 1 or 2 plays and say, hey, I've used these plays or I've seen these plays and these work or whatever like that. But depending on how stubborn your damn offensive coordinator is, he don't listen to none of that shit. He does what he wants to do. Never forget that there's egos in this sport. There's no excuse for 5 years of bad offensive. Exactly. Bird to fly. Exactly. And that's the problem. There is. Proof beyond this year that this offensive line has not been good. There's just, I mean, what else can you say about it? If you buy a hammer and it breaks, and you go back to the store and you buy another of the same hammer and it breaks, and you go back to the store and you buy another same hammer and it breaks, are you going to continue to keep buying that same hammer? No. You're going to find a different hammer next time you go to the store. And that's the thing that Beamer's done with Teasley. Year after year, and it hasn't been Teasley, but it's the combination of Greg Atkins and Lonnie Teasley together. Because Greg Atkins brought in Teasley, they're one. And the combination of them two has not been good at all. And you don't want to keep having to change offensive coordinators. I'd like to bring Loggins back. Not me. It wasn't any better under Loggins. It was Lenore's breaking. Think about how many sacks Lenore's broke and made positive plays out of last year. How many tackles he broke and made. He made all of that look good when it wasn't very good. Our running game wasn't good last year. Rocket Sanders made our running game look good by breaking tackles and getting through holes. He was a good running back. He's better than anybody we got on our team right now. So what do? You got to design stuff that fits the profile of you guys. And like I was talking to Oscar's dad, and I'm like, they need. And I did keys to the game, Captain Obvious thing. Throw the ball to the running backs. Get the ball out of Lenorsa's hands quick. Get it to the running backs. Get it to the tight ends. Get it in the middle of the field because we have so many plays that go to the sidelines, and then the wide receiver catch the ball. They'd have zero opportunity to go anywhere because you have the DB on one side and the sideline on the other. It's like you can't get yards after the catch if everything you're catching is running to the sidelines. You got to get it to the middle of the field and get the guys the opportunity to find space, break tackles, make plays for you, and get yards after the catch. I don't know. Sellers' grandfather was the guy. Oh, that's why Sellers was pissed then. That was his granddad they threw the football at. You think that guy? Yeah, but that guy wouldn't have known that. He was just being a dick. I mean, I seriously doubt when the guy made the play, he just looked up. Well, that's Lenore Sellers' grandfather. I'm gonna throw the ball at him. No, but once his Sellers found that out, no wonder he was pissed off and wanted to beat the living crap out of Kentucky. He might not run as much as he ran in that game until he was pissed off about it, right? Take away Sellers' 81 rushing yards, you still have less than 100 yards. Yeah, but not by much. You were right there at the 100 yards, but I get what you're saying. I don't care about the yardage on rushing though. You guys are tied up on that. I care about running the ball enough to keep the defense honest, and then whatever it takes to win football games. If that means you have to throw the ball 50 times to win the football game, then you throw the ball 50 times to win the football game. You mix in some runs to keep defenses honest so they can't key on you throwing every time. I don't. A lot of people get focused in on that. They think it's got to be that. It's got to. No, it don't. And you don't have to be a heavy run team either. That's what I keep telling people. You don't. We watch so many college offense is so different than NFL. We watch so many different styles of college offense. Why do y'all think Tennessee can run the ball so well? I mean, all you guys in the chat, y'all tell me why Tennessee runs the ball so well. And it really doesn't matter what kind of running backs they got. Why can they run the ball so well? Because of their threat of the pass. And they spread everyone out. They use every bit of the field they can use to spread the defense out. They create spaces. And they can run at that point because there's less people to run at. As far as the defense, everyone's out of the box. So that's why they run the ball so well. They use their pass to set up their run. And now Samson was a really good running back and took advantage of that for him last year. But I mean, they're balanced, and you wouldn't think they are. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't think that's a balanced offense, but it is but everyone's so scared of their pass game that they back up. That's right. Thank you, SECFD. Please hit that like, subscribe button, notification bell. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me this late. I'm about to jump out of here and let y'all go to bed and go to bed myself. Rocket Sanders was a dog. Yes, he was. Rocket Sanders was a really good running back. I really wish South Carolina would have got him out of high school. They were trying to get him, and he ended up going to Arkansas instead of coming here. But hell, we were right there neck and neck with getting him straight out of high school. But old Will Muschamp couldn't seal the deal. Imagine that. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all coming in, hanging out with me. Nice little post-game show. We got to celebrate tonight. And we'll take our victory and into a bye week. And get ready for LSU. We'll talk about LSU. We got 2 weeks now to kind of break down some things, talk about this game some more. I'll watch the game again and kind of pick it apart as I always do. But I really wanted to watch that LSU game today to see what they truly had. And it wasn't good, guys. It wasn't good. They're very comparable to our football team. How they were at number 4, they like really milked that win over Clemson after getting preseason ranked high, and that win over Clemson, which now we know that's not even a good win. Um, the pollsters milked that out for 'em, and not very good. Uh, they run a vertical zone running scheme. They run vertical everything, Sporty. That is, and they're a read passing team. They're not a they're it's designed passing, but they don't specifically run off the design. They run off of they might have 3 reads off of the play, each wide receiver. Um, and it depends on where the DB's at, how the DB lines up, where the safety's at. So that's why like it's hard. You got to have a really. That's why Hooker was so good in that. He could see it, and him and his wide receivers had a good connection. And that's why Aguilar's fairly good in that offense. But that's why Milton wasn't. It wasn't. You got to be a smart player to run that Tennessee offense because you almost got to guess where your wide receivers are going. The quarterback and the wide receiver has to be on the exact same page when they're making their reads. Might do my post game live in a minute. I don't know. All right, SECFD, let me know. I might come out and hang. I may come over there and hang in your show and get your point of view on tonight's game, buddy. But I always appreciate you coming and hanging out with me, Ryan. You know that. And Sporty. I'm glad Sporty's back around. I ain't seen Sporty in a while, which I disappeared to. I'm back to Sporty. So we both went on vacation. We're back now. Syracuse got their butts whooped today. Yeah, that's not a good. That is not a good football team that Clemson lost to. It's not. It is not. But I'm telling y'all, this college football season is bipolar. Teams play good one week, play like shit the next week. Then I don't know. It's just insane. Like trying to bet or pick on these teams is like crazy. Um, it is hard to pick who's going to cover, not cover. If you try to base upon what they did the week before, you can't do that either. And then now with these injuries and stuff, they won't tell you until the day of the game whether a guy's going to play or not. Like I would have never put LSU in my parlay had I known Caden Durham was going to be out, but I didn't know until today, and it was too late. I'd already picked my games. I think I'm gonna switch over to just start live betting and stay away from pre-picking football games. Might have better luck anyway. But anyway, I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you guys. It's very, very much appreciated. Let's go celebrate this win, and we're gonna refocus uh, over this bye week on LSU. Ryan, we'll pick this thing apart. Ryan, you ready? We're gonna go pick LSU apart. We're gonna tell you what's good, bad, and ugly about LSU. Ryan and I'll take care of that. In case y'all don't know who Ryan is, that's SECFT. So don't forget to go over and like, subscribe, and follow his channel also. But until then, probably tomorrow, I'll put a video out and we'll talk about the game a little bit more. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening.